Chris writes, Governor, I'm sure you're aware of the situation happening to Pittsburgh's assessment problem, the reassessment problem. You've lived here. My question is, why can't you help us with this situation? Most of us are going to lose our homes because we can't afford them. Chris then goes on to suggest implementing other taxes to replace property taxes, and then ends his email with, I know once I'm done with my home, and I think I'm speaking for everyone, I'm out of this clearly corrupt state. I'm not saying it's better anywhere else, but here it's so obvious politicians are only out for themselves. A judge, Governor, ordered reassessments, shooting up property values. It's been delayed till 2013, but still a lot of people are going to see their tax bills go up. What do you say to them?
I'll say, okay, so the next hour we spend on this. Because it is a complicated situation.
Very complicated.
And Chris, I'm sorry to hear that you feel that way about the people of Pennsylvania. There are a lot of good, hardworking elected officials at the state level, the local level, the county level, that you, with one very broad brush, you have impinged their integrity.
Frustration tends to do that.
It is frustration. Yeah. But let's go back and take a look at what the assessment problem we have is that the fact that there weren't assessments done for a very, very long period of time. And when that happens, I believe that the people in the poorer districts have been adversely affected more than anybody else because, and the town of Braddock is probably a good one in Allegheny County. At one time when the steel mill was there, assessments were, and values of property were much higher, and the assessments were set when the values of property were higher. That community has gone through very difficult times. The steel mills have gone. The values of those properties have gone down. But the assessments haven't gone down at the same time. And so those people are paying an assessment that is much higher than what really they should be. And I think that's what caused the court to go in there. There's the other side to it. Areas that were rural areas before now have a great deal of homes in it. They're still assessed low, and those values are much higher. So the fact that the court ordered a reassessment was because nobody in government had done the reassessment on a regular basis. Now, that's a problem in each county. Each county does it themselves. It's not there is no state assessment, and the legislature does not appear to be interested in doing one. So, Chris, I would direct your attention to the county and equalizing the assessment side. My wife and I just got our assessment, took a look at it, and went, this is interesting. I got to go compare it to everything else because we live in a very modest house, and our value went up by 50%.
50%.
By 50%. So take a look at that. So, yeah, I understand what's going on out there, but this really comes back to the leaders that you elect to your county positions because this is a county decision. Now, the other question I think Chris talked about was why can't we just go to I want to believe he was talking about the old flat tax.
I think it was.
And maybe universal sales tax.
Local sales taxes. Right. And he said that's a way that everybody pays their fair share, and he included the rich as well as the drug dealers.
Right. But, well, if the drug dealer is going to buying a beer or buying groceries or something.
They have to buy
but we have
food
all
too.
These exemptions, and there is no will in the legislature to go to that kind of a tax system. Most states have some form of property tax system. There are some states that have a personal property tax system. I think the state of Virginia has one, so that there's a tax on your vehicle, and that tax is higher when you buy it, and then it slowly works its way down. Yeah. But it's a portion of the price of your vehicle every year.
Yeah. I'm not sure they have to get inspected every year, though, do they?
No, and I will tell you, we so. You probably don't remember this, Brad. It used to be that you had to get your vehicles in Pennsylvania inspected twice a year.
Oh, I don't remember that. That's a little before my time.
It was twice a year.
Wow. Next email comes from Paul in Bethel Park, and Paul writes, this is a subject we haven't talked about for a couple of months. Will tuition vouchers ever become a reality in Pennsylvania? A couple of months ago, we did talk about
Ever is a very long period of time.
It is a very long period of time, but we talked about that being one of the few initiatives you did not have a lot of success with last year.
But you don't quit. I mean,
what's the game plan?
I have a 4-year term, and hopefully 4 more years after that. I'm only in the early part of my second year of my first term. We don't back away from this. We need education reform, and I look at it that way. And to me, it's a combination of teacher evaluation. We need to tweak the charter law a little bit, particularly as it applies to special ed funding. The education income tax credit, we'd like to be able to put some more investment in there, and to get school opportunity grants And these are, as the law was proposed, and you don't have to go with one bill; you can go with other bills, aimed primarily at the failing schools of Pennsylvania, the school buildings of Pennsylvania, to give those kids an opportunity, and if their parent so chooses, to go to another school nearby in another district, the same district, but to be able to move public-private charter. To be able to move that child, we're spending that money on education to give them an opportunity to go to a school that is doing better and is teaching their kids better than what we see in the number of failing schools, school buildings that we have in Pennsylvania.
I know that the legislature would have to pass it first, but as governor and the same party as the controlling party in the legislature, you do have some sway. Are you going to encourage them to do it this year? And because it's an election year, is it probably not going to happen this year?
Within the clearly, right now there are just a few Democrats that would consider this, and the Republicans that are taking a look at that. But within the Republicans, there are different groups with different interests looking at that. I think I'm a little disappointed that more Democrats aren't taking a look at it, because I look at it from this perspective. This is about the children. This isn't about the school buildings. This isn't about the school districts. It's not about the school unions. It is about the children and getting the children in education. We spend a lot of money in education in Pennsylvania. If you take kindergarten through higher ed, and you combine federal, state, and local money that goes into education, it's 40% of our budget. But overall, between all that money that goes in, it's $25 billion. Yet we still have failing schools.